Hi everyone, this is our first upload of 2026. It's been a while, it's been a year. Life has shifted me to a completely different dimension, a completely different level of understanding, a completely different perspective, a completely different way of operating. I do want to put a trigger warning in case anyone wants to click off, because I will be addressing some serious topics that need to be talked about. And I feel like there's not enough people who are talking about these things. And as much as I originally, when I started this YouTube, wanted to be on the more marketable side of YouTube, the more aesthetic side of YouTube, the more fun side of YouTube, that is just not the plan that God has had for my life. And certain experiences have affected myself and many others in ways that cannot be ignored and need to be discussed. The trigger warning topic that I'm talking about is the issue of predatory behavior towards children. For the past year, there's been so much that I've wanted to say. And unfortunately, because there are certain legal things going on, I cannot discuss certain topics. I will discuss what I believe is important and what I believe that the world needs to hear at this time, and how I want to use my platform. Now, as you guys know, if you've been following, I had to remove certain videos discussing certain topics. And one of the main things that bothers me about any sort of issue when it comes to people making accusations, when it comes to people sharing the truth about people's behaviors, when it comes to any person who has the courage to stand up for what's right, is that so often you're made to feel like you are wrong. This is your fault. And the person who is being accused of things never seems to carry the same amount of ridicule, the same amount of shame, the same gaslighting that the victim does. And it's so unfortunate that not only socially do many people not side with victims, but they side with the predator by default. And even in the legal system, unfortunately, someone can go and say that, this has happened and that has happened. The most vulnerable of our population can say to law officials that these things have happened. And if there is not black and white proof, then the person gets away with it. And it's just unfortunate how society works, how the legal system works, how there are not enough allowances being made to protect the most vulnerable of our population, which to me is women and children. And I think that there's so much more that needs to be done. I think there's so many more things that need to be put in place. There's so many more discussions that need to be had around this topic. There's simply not enough people discussing one of the most widespread issues on this planet, which is predatory behaviors towards children. Now, in my own experience with the legal system, I'm just going to talk about my experience as a child. I was essayed as a child between the ages of 7 and 8 years old. After school every day, I was to go to a babysitter's house. And during those days, those 5 days of the week, I was repeatedly inappropriately touched by my babysitter's husband. Now, as a child, I didn't quite understand what was going on at first. It took me a while to realize that, okay, this person is doing something that is not right. This person is doing something that nobody else in my life is doing. And it created a sense of fear. It created a sense of shame. It created a sense of, is this my fault? It created a sense of, well, this is an adult, obviously they're right and I'm wrong. And it started with grooming. And what I want everyone to understand about these behaviors, and I'm sure that there's a lot of you that can relate to this, is that a lot of time when these behaviors start, it's not right off the bat inappropriate. The person is grooming the environment, they're grooming the adults around, they're grooming whatever other children may be around, and they are grooming the victim at the same time. And they are trying to get the environment comfortable with them having access to whoever it is that they wish to have access to. And with me, my grooming started as the man pretending to play with me, tickling me. And it's unfortunate that a lot of groomers use this tactic on children, because if you're tickling a child, and everybody else in the vicinity hears laughter, they automatically assume that everything is okay. They automatically assume that this person is fun, this person is safe, this person is, trying to show this child a fun time, when in reality, they are trying to get the child and everyone else in the environment adapted to, it's okay for me to touch this child. It's okay for me to put my hands on this child. And if there's anybody in your life or around your children or any other children that you care about or are close to you, that is something that I would definitely keep an eye on, is grooming behaviors like tickling. Grooming behaviors also come by way of grooming the parent. Predatory people will try to get the parent comfortable with them having access to the child, them having unsupervised time with the child. Oh, I can watch them for you while you go here and there. Oh, I can, do you want me to change the baby for you? Do you want me to change? Oh, I can give them a bath. If I were to tell any parent, any caring person whose main objective and heart is to protect the most innocent, the only ones who cannot protect themselves, it would be to not put your trust in anyone who has not earned it. And unfortunately, people can play a role. I mean, these people play such a good role. They're master manipulators. They've been doing this for longer than you even realize. And you have to be on the lookout, because it's not even just men who are doing this. It's not even just girls who this is being done to. This is being done by both men and women, and it's being done to both boys and girls. This is a widespread issue that has impacted my life so deeply that I feel that there's nothing more worthy of talking about than this. There's nothing more important to me than protecting not only my children, but any children. I've only showed up here because God has been tugging on me. This is what needs to be spoken about. So much more information online, but not enough information, not enough advocacy, not enough voices, not enough people talking about this. And to me, this is one of the most important issues that we as a species need to be talking about, on how we can make this world a safer place for our children, for our grandchildren, and for any future generations that are coming after us. Now, after I became aware that this person, when I was a child, this man was behaving inappropriately towards me, I knew that I needed to tell my mom. I knew I needed to tell an adult, but I was so scared. And I remember one of the last instances before I felt like I really needed to tell an adult. I was made to undress from my bottom half and was forced to sit for a picture of my privates. And what I don't think people realize is that a lot of these people are not just participating in these deviant behaviors. They are also recording these devious behaviors and also profiting from these devious behaviors. And this is a very widespread issue that is affecting so many children today. And I don't even think that the numbers are accurate because it's so underreported. And what these people count on, and when I say these people, I'm talking about the predators, what they count on is our silence. What they count on is our fear. What they count on is the secrecy. And I feel like me sharing my own story, sharing what I can of my story, is so necessary to prevent this from continuing to happen. I don't see any other way forward but for women, families, children, men, boys, girls, whoever, to start using your voice, speaking up, and telling anyone that will listen that there is a dangerous person in the environment. If there is any instances of you knowing of a child being inappropriately touched, groomed, it needs to be reported. And I know that a lot of time there's families that will sweep things under the rug. There's families that they may believe the child, but they will take it into their own hands. And I completely understand that emotional reaction, that visceral reaction when it comes to wanting to protect your child. And a lot of people do not want to necessarily go the legal route, but I thank God that my mother set that standard, that when I told her, the first thing we did was call the police. The first thing that she did was try to press charges, because these people need to be held accountable. Not enough of these people are being held accountable for the crimes that they are committing against the most vulnerable of our society. We need to create a record of what is going on to prevent this from happening to somebody else. If all you do is take it into your own hands and you don't report it, there is no public record. There is nothing that someone can look up that says, this is a suspect individual and this individual needs to be watched. We are doing not only ourselves, not only our children, not only our future children, but the world as a whole a disservice. It is our job to speak the truth. It is our job to stand up for what is right. It is our job to make the public aware of anyone who may be a danger to the most vulnerable of our society. Now, unfortunately, because of the nature of these crimes, a lot of time charges will not stick. And that is something that we as a collective need to be discussing more, because additional allowances need to be made to hold people accountable for their actions. There needs to be a more united front when it comes to protecting the most innocent of our community. People who are accused of these things should be publicly shunned. They should be excommunicated from their families. They should not be invited to Thanksgiving dinner. They should not be invited to so-and-so's birthday party. This behavior of society as a whole and the way that society handles these perpetrators is completely inappropriate. It makes absolutely no sense. I don't understand it. Why are the victims being the ones who are ridiculed, who are gaslit, who are made to feel ashamed? I don't understand. And even though as a child, my mother pressed charges against the person who did these horrible things to me, because it's hard to prove this person got away with it. And they were my neighbor. After all of this court investigation and detectives and all of this whole case, and after I kind of came out on the other side of this thing, this person didn't serve any jail time. I had to see this person walking around the neighborhood almost every day. I had to see this person's child at my school, and every time I had to see them, it was a reminder of the fact that the law did not do what it was supposed to do in protecting me. And I hate that these people continue to walk free. These people continue to be allowed to go on with their lives despite a lifetime of trauma that they have caused somebody. A feeling of brokenness and shame that they have caused somebody. They get to continue on as if nothing has happened, and they're still accepted by their family, and their wife is still there. They're still at the holiday parties, and they're still at the school, and they're still wherever. I don't understand. I really don't understand. So if this is an issue that has affected you, has affected anyone close to you, has affected your children, has affected your niece, your nephew, anyone, I encourage you to say something. I encourage you to do something. Like this video, share this video. There is not enough discourse about this going on in the world today, when this is one of the most serious things that is impacting our society and needs to be discussed. This is what I feel is most important to be speaking on at this time, and I hope that this video inspires more people to be speaking on these things. So yeah, bye for now. I will see you very, very soon.